Good morning, everyone, and welcome to beautiful Belmont Park. A happy Father's Day to all you dads out there. A brilliant day here in Elmont, New York. Temperature in the 60s right now, climbing to about 75 degrees. A little bit of a breeze, some clouds in the sky, with a mostly sunny day here on the Nassau-Queens border. The main track is fast. Turf course is listed as firm. No carryover into the pick six. 10 race card kicks off at 1 o'clock. Here are the changes for today's races. In the first, please note the number 1, Karma's Warriors, 1 pound over. And we have these scratches. Scratch the 1A Toga Dancer, 5 Sell Something, 13 On Palm Sunday, 14 Lucky Brody, and 15 Rush to Honor. Again, race 1. The early pick 5 begins in race 1. Scratch the 1A, 5, 13, 14, and 15. Race number 2. Scratch the 1A, Naked and Famous. Scratch the 1A, Naked and Famous. And the 3, Prince of Fenton, is 1 pound over. 1 pound over on the 3, Prince of Fenton. In race 2, the start of the early pick 4. No changes in race number 3. A scratch out of race 4, the 16th running of the spectacular bid division of the New York Stallion Stakes. Take out the 6, Mo Danson. Scratch the 6, Mo Danson. Please note, race 4 is also the start of today's triple play. Triple play today consists of races 4, 7, and 9. Race number 5, the pick 6 starts in race 5. Scratch the also eligible runners, the 11, Bella Conchita, the 12, Cross Island, and the 13, Freedom Machine. Again in race 5, the start of the pick 6. Scratch the 11, 12, and 13. Race number 6 kicks off the late pick 5. Scratch the 1A, Sweet Mia. Scratch the 1A, Sweet Mia from race 6. The late pick 4 begins in race number 7. And in race 7, you could scratch the main track only runner, the 6. There is a Storm Bruin. Scratch the 6. There is a Storm Bruin from race 7. Please note in race number 8, this one change, an equipment change. Money in the Bank will race without a crop again. No crop for the 1. Money in the Bank in race number 8. Race 9 is the 15th running of the Coopercoy's Joy division of the New York Stallion Stakes. Note the number 1, Royal Dancer, is 1 pound over. And scratch the main track only runner, the number 6, Bank on Anna. Again in race 9, scratch the 6, Bank on Anna. And in race 10, the finale, note the number 5, Mucho Macho Comet, is 1 pound over. And scratch the main track only runner, the 9, Hereby. Scratch the 9, Hereby, in race number 10. Fast and firm on Father's Day here at Belmont. The voice of New York racing, John Imbrial, will be back in about an hour with a reprise of the scratches and changes for a first post that kicks off at 1 p.m. Pick 6 starts in race number 5. The triple play starts in race number 4. Coming up next, a fantastic Father's Day edition of Talking Horses with yours truly and Andy Serling.
Good morning and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. It is the Father's Day Talking Horses. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Surley. It's a glorious day today.
Unbelievable.
A little bit warmer and less windy than yesterday. I was up here yesterday with Acacia for a few hours. We were cold. I mean, she was
It got cold.
wrapped in a blanket.
It got cold.
It was chilly.
I came up late. I came up to wrap the first show, and then...
Well, you just got off the air. I mean, you finished the show around Churchill's race at around 5:30 this morning. I think you were downstairs.
Meadowlands actually raced...
78 race
Meadowlands
car.
actually raced later than Churchill did last night. We wrapped it up with the Big M. I tried to bail out, but I couldn't. Exacta paid 49.80, but I didn't suggest the Exacta. I bet the win bet on the second horse at 5 to 1.
It's a continuum. Anyhow, beautiful day today. Head over to Naira Bets. Beautiful day to join Naira Bets if you're not a member.
It is. Look, Javier's looking up at the sun.
Happy Father's Day to Javi.
Yeah.
All the people at the racetrack, of course. Use promo code MATCH200. Sign up for Naira Bets. We'll match you with $200 of your initial deposit. Play through Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game. What else do we have? We have the what is this now? This is starting tomorrow. You bet what do you have to bet?
You bet $20 each weekday, Monday through Friday, and there'll be $20 in your account on Saturday.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Bet $20 each day, and there'll be a $20 bonus. This is for this week.
Got that Canterbury card Wednesday night. That's a fun card.
We'll be here. We'll have that on America's Day at the races from 6 to 11. But yeah, this is the next 2 weeks before we head up to the spa.
Okay. I'll be on vacation, by the way. I will not be back here until June 30th after today. You'll get a little break from me. What else do we have? You have a $5,000 trifecta bonus. You hit selected tries. What are they, 7th and 9th? What races are they? Do you know?
I will check.
Sundays at Belmont, you'll share in 5,000.
Usually the last 2 races, but that could be different today.
And what else do we have? We have the show. Okay, 1:30 to 3. I love these. 1:30 to 3 on FS1, 3 to 5 on 2, and 5 to 6 on 1. All right, let's get to work. Today's first race. What would you take here? Oh, Media Sensation is the horse to beat. Will be favored in here, and it's probably the only horse that has any kind of form, dropping down a little bit. I mean, got something else you want to add?
No, I mean, the rider change is probably going to account for -2 to 3 points on the tote board.
Well, this horse would be favored anyway. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't think with this horse. I think you're going to get that kind of change with a horse that's 15 or 12 to 1. This is a horse that has to be favored. This horse might be favored even if Luis Rodriguez Castro is riding this horse.
But don't you think he's going to take even more
Not going
money?
to take. It's a percentage terms. If the horse was going to be 15 to 1, he might go down to 12 to 1. But if the horse was going to be 4 to 1, he's going to go down to 3 to 1 or 7 to 2. It's not. It's a percentage thing.
You think
They're
it's
not
a
going to all
percentage?
drop.
Okay.
It is a percentage. Of course it is. I mean, it's not because a significant number of the money doesn't really even care about the riders. You know, there are people that listen. I have a very smart friend who loved that horse the one the other day with Gary Richards.
I know 5 people that bet that horse.
Well, that horse
and 4 of them I absolutely believe.
Jerry Brown from Thoroughgraph texted me before the race, and he said to me, "I'm betting this horse. I like this horse. This horse has a big chance."
The 5th one's a little sketchy, but the other 4 I absolutely
4 out of 5 would be remarkable. I'm going to take under, but if you say it, you know, you can
my
have
man
it.
Andy told me I believe him. There was one in there that was like,
No, a lot of Thoroughgraph players had that horse. I guarantee it.
Oh, so then that's what it was, because all those guys are Thoroughgraph guys.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
I mean, Andy's not, but yeah.
Well, listen.
Okay.
I mean, just because I don't use them doesn't mean I don't see their incredible value. And for a lot of people, they're sacred. So I respect that, and I respect Jerry's opinion a great deal.
Jerry led me to Birdstone in 2004.
There's no. But so I wouldn't. I don't think that. I think Saratoga, there may be a little bit more of that in the pools, but in these pools, they're pretty sophisticated pools. I like the 4 Saratoga Sky in this race. To me, he's a horse to beat. We'll take a look at him, and this was ridiculous. I mean, yeah, he's getting a little shuffled there, no question about it. And you see him; he just gets completely taken in the back of the pack. But part of the problem is that when you're an unaggressive rider that frequently is looking to be in the back of the pack for some reason, you put yourself in that position to get completely shuffled out. It actually is going to get kind of worse even for this horse from there. He's in there, and he just keeps getting just sort of eliminated from the race, and he just had no shot. He's got a giant pedigree. He's a half to Sanctuary City, 3 for 3 from the dam and the turf. I mean, I wish he had a better turf sire. Of course, Sanctuary City is a temple city. The others had better turf sires than Sky Mesa, but this horse just lost all chance whatsoever. And we can get rid of this video. This was a race that was dominated on the front end. And you look through this race, and the reality is that Media Sensation is going to be favored. You have to be a little careful because he didn't do any running in any of these races. None. And frankly, he didn't run as well in that race when he finished sixth as Cerro Sky did. Cerro Sky's getting a significant rider change. I assume John Velasquez is still riding.
Yeah.
It's
No
not a
change.
trainer like Wesley Ward who can make changes 5 seconds before the race. When exactly did Luis Saez get on that horse yesterday in the 7th race? When was that change announced? And I'm serious.
Jose Gomez didn't ride that horse?
There you have it. And he is a lot more aware of those kind of things than I am. We all
Wow.
thought he did.
You know what was funny?
And Kieran texted me after the race and said, it's Louis rode that horse.
This is no offense to Jose Gomez. I said to myself, wow, this kid became one of the greatest finishers of all time. Wow. Yeah, see,
Yeah.
that's bad. That's when we don't. I'm not patting myself on the back here. I am on top of all of that, and I had
You
no
are.
clue.
You are.
I had no clue.
You
Wow,
100%
that's
you
bad.
are.
That's bad.
I'll say
That's
it sometimes,
bad.
and you'll say, Andy, that horse, you are on top of it. And
That's bad.
the Wesley Ward situation, naming Jamie Spencer here on a horse when he was riding over in Europe, it's not fair to the fans. And the fact that most of us, and Anthony pays more attention to that stuff than I do, I'm not saying I would have bet that horse. I wouldn't have bet him with Luis Saez. But there might have been people
Right.
out there that would have used him. And it seems like rules, there's no other trainer that does that with regularity. And I have a great amount of respect for Wesley Ward and what he's done in this game.
No
But I
question
have
about
no
it.
respect for what goes on with these jockeys and the way bettors are treated when this kind of stuff habitually happens. Once a year, wacky
Right.
things happen. Things happen. I get
When
that.
you do it 3 times
but
a
it's
meet.
not. And the thing is, it's never Luis Saez to Jose Gomez.
Or Julio
it's
Garcia.
always somebody random. And Jose Gomez, by the way, is not random. That kid can ride. And I wouldn't have given it a thought. But I don't think
It's
it's right.
almost always
There are people that
widely
care.
considered an upgrade.
There are people that care, and it's
Yes.
not right to horse players. And there are things here that are dealt with differently than some things, and that needs to be dealt
Well,
with. Needs to stop.
Johnny is riding this horse, and I don't think anybody would be too surprised to realize that Johnny hasn't ridden one for Jimmy Ferraro in a couple of years. So, if ever, I'm sure he's ridden
I'm
something
sure
for
he
Jimmy
has.
in the
Jimmy
past.
had a
But
nice
yeah,
winner the other
this
day.
horse makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
So it's
I didn't really have a whole lot else to say
No.
in here. Brazilian Courage race against the better horses does pick up Jose Ortiz.
Look, Christophe Clement's horse, the 11 Chapel Road, who did no running on the dirt despite being 9-5 and 4-1 in his 2 dirt races. Quality Road, the dam was 1 for 24.
What percentage of Christophe's horses do you have first or second, do you think?
It's
80 or
very
90?
high.
Yeah.
It's very high. I'd also like to point out that he is in the exacta right now at about 49%.
Race number 2.
I'm not going to make an already tough game
I understand.
more complicated.
Well, you're okay. It's a longer conversation that I disagree with. Race number 2. What did you do? Race number 2.
I lost $20 on Naked and Famous, by the way, already.
He's named for you. What did you
I
do?
was
with
there
it?
the night he was named.
What do you like about Fazaro?
Well, scratching into Fazaro now, obviously, with Naked and Famous out. Getting back to the dirt, this horse is one dirt race. And I know it was for Wayne Potts, but the one dirt race on the fast track, that's 61 and puts this horse right on the money.
It's
in
a
here, I would
figure that
think.
has been proven over time to be too high.
Okay.
It's much closer to 50 than close to other figs. It's a figure we've
Can
talked
I
about
ask you
more
a
than a
question?
few times in
And
the show.
this is a conversation probably for another time, but maybe you can give a 5-second answer. They adjust figs all the time. Why hasn't it been adjusted?
They don't agree. I've never discussed it with
Okay.
Andy, but if you look at the horses out of that race,
No,
one after
you're
another
not- you're
ran
not
wide,
wrong.
that's a thing you realize.
We've
looking
talked
at
about
formula.
this never early race quite a few times. You're right.
Yes, we have, and it's something that you look at if you look at it formulator. That's fine. He was also in Wayne Potts' barn at the time, so he's of no interest to me. And here I've got him third, but I will look at Prince of Fenton's race. I think all things being equal, Prince of Fenton will be an enormous favorite in this race. I understand this rider doesn't take a lot of money, and I understand that, but the reality is that I think this was one where Manny ended up being aggressive, and it didn't help the horse in this case. This was a very quick pace, relatively speaking, on
Yes.
that racetrack, and this race just completely incinerated in the late stages of 6.5 furlongs. I know it's 7 today, but I think it's a different scenario today, and you're going to see him a bit forward, but maybe not as forward. We'll see how the race is ridden. I just think off that last race, he's just better than these horses.
I was.
know. Because the horse,
I'm always rooting for my fellow St. John's alum, Greg DePrima. My problem with this horse was they whipped this horse back in 20 days off of 3 maiden special weight races, right in for the
Well, now
20,
he's out for
and
2 months.
now Greg doesn't run the horse for 8 weeks.
Well, maybe he felt like you did that the horse needed some time.
Yeah.
The number 4 Alight in a lot of ways is one of the horses to beat in this race. but he is a horse that's 0 for 34. But in reality, he's probably in the best form he's ever been in. I think he's a major player in this race, despite his record. Race number 3. He obviously won't be much priced, Disco Pharaoh, but I think he's going to win this race, and will show his win 2 back in the Freight Whiteley after that huge win here in a maiden race that probably is a fig that could have been higher. I do think there's a very first of all, he got eliminated at the start, and he was wide on a track where the inside was very good last time, and I think there's also a fair argument that he's going to be very happy to be back on Lasix.
Yes, I agree with that 1,000%, my friend. But yeah, he had no chance once the gates opened last time. That race was over for him. Yeah, he makes plenty of sense. He's going to be really short though, right? He's 3-2 on the morning
He'll be
line.
favored, and Nova Rags will be a second choice.
Yeah, I just flip-flopped him.
Okay, well, here's Nova Rags finishing second in the Peter Pan last year. How about it?
Yeah, they kept, I feel like the connections kept banging their heads running this horse long when I think he wants to sprint. He was beaten only 7 lengths by Drain the Clock and Jackie's Warrior the last time he sprinted. His other 2 races at distances less than a mile, he won them both. So
I don't know, Anthony.
yeah,
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know that his record bears out that. I always thought that was the case too, but I don't think so. His Woody Stevens was bad. He had a good trip in there. He was supposed to make a run, and he didn't. And I don't know. I'm not convinced. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I don't have a problem with him going shorter.
I like the
Those 6
rider change
furlongs
to
is
Louis.
Okay, but we like any rider change in that situation. But the reality is, his race don't bear it out. And it's not 1 turn, 2 turn, because Sam Davis, he ran fine in that race. He didn't run badly in the Florida Derby. He ran fine in the Peter Pan.
Well, don't you think he ran better in the Peter Pan going the 1 turn?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think they're very similar type efforts. Well, but they're very similar type efforts. The speed figures are the same. Some speed figures have them faster. Some have them slower. It's not. And the other thing is, he's cutting 6 furlongs today. He's not running 7. And
I also think it's encouraging that anytime he's had a little bit of now it is a considerable break, but he won first time out. He won off the 10 weeks. Like he's run well when he's a little bit fresh.
Okay, but he's also running against a legit horse here in Disco Pharaoh, and if that horse shows up, he's going to have trouble beating him. He's going to have to improve a lot. And listen, it's his first start of the year, and Bill's probably trying to figure out what to do with him. And Bill's probably concerned for Bill. He better hope he's not too good. What's he going to do with him?
Right. Not going to run him against
Cody's Wish and Olympiad and
Speaker's
Speaker's
Corner.
Corner.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have to. Where is Cody's Wish, by the way?
I know Cody's Wish wintered I believe he wintered in Florida, but I believe Bill keeps him in Kentucky.
No, he won to Westchester.
Right, but I think he shipped from Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. I think he keeps him in
but wouldn't
Kentucky.
he, after that race, wouldn't he have shipped him back here? Unless he was going to run him to Stephen Foster, why would he leave him there?
Maybe he's running in the Foster. I don't
Is it
know.
Olympiad? Olympiad's right in the Foster. He's not. It's hard to believe. It's possible.
You're
It is
right.
Godolphin,
It
but
is
it's
hard to believe.
I mean, at this point, maybe you'd actually
Maybe he tried to scratch
consider
him for the Suburban.
mile and a quarter. Maybe that's an interesting question. Or maybe you're holding for the Whitney and you take a shot against the big boys. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard when you're Bill and you have 3 legitimate.
Or aren't you
horses.
hoping Olympiad takes you to the Whitney? It's plenty
no,
of time,
I
right?
get it. No.
If you're going to run him against him in one race, you're probably going to do it in the Foster to see if he can go into the Whitney. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure he keeps him in Kentucky,
problems of having multiple graded stakes horses in your barn.
Embarrassment
and
of
Bill
riches.
is in a very, very strong position in that older
He is.
male division with those horses. Olympiado lost to what's his name, and Baby Yoda in 7-1 at Saratoga, race that'll live in infamy. Race number 4, the New York Stallion Series. If somebody wins are the 2 favorites in this race, Dakota Gold and Surprise Boss, it will be an upset. This is the spectacular bid, right?
What was that?
I don't know. This is a spectacular bid.
This is the other one's the Kupakoi's Joy, correct?
Bids before your time, right?
I was 3.
He was probably the best horse of my racing lifetime. Dr. Fager I was alive for Dr. Fager, but obviously didn't see him, much like you in Spectacular
Right.
Bid. I don't think there was a better horse. You know, he was 24 for 24, I think, from 7 furlongs to a mile and a quarter. His 2 losses were the mile and a half.
Say that again,
24
right?
for 24, 26 for 30, and every race he ran was against the best horses, and he smashed them like they were nobodies. His Flamingo with that was it Flamingo or the Florida Derby with that crazy trip where he still won. He lost to Affirmed and Coastal at mile and a half in those races. we showed on the show yesterday his win in the Marlboro, which I was actually here for. My friend Mark Campbell.
I was probably here for that Marlboro Cup too, but I don't remember.
He beat General Assembly, who had just won the Travers by 436 lengths.
Had the track record from
Coastal,
Arrogate.
Coastal, who had Coastal, who had won was the Monmouth Invitational, became the Haskell. Haskell was the older horse race. They flip-flopped him after beating him, and he didn't beat him. He just dusted him. I mean, beat General Assembly by 5 lengths or something. He was a true machine.
Greatest horse I've looked through a bridle, right? That's what Buddy Delp said about him?
Well, I mean, I wasn't around for Dr. Fager, and I'm sure you know a lot, like I do,
Sure.
old-timers, and the people I'm sure you know are just like me. People around that time, they all talk about Dr. Fager like he was the
Horse
greatest.
players don't agree on a lot of things, right? It's all about.
They all
but
love
you
Dr.
talk to
Fager.
anybody that's over 60 years old, and they tell you that Dr. Fager was the absolute best.
I regret he's the worst. I regret that I missed the Dr. Fager Damascus Buckpasser horses because when
Well, they were wars. And
when I first got in the game, they were also all big sires. So I wanted to know about them. When I first got in the game in the early 70s, I saw their names so readily. And so I read about them and learned about them, and they were all truly great horses.
Monsters.
But Fager was the one. But for me, in my lifetime, it was a spectacular bid. Lousy sire, unbelievable racehorse.
It's amazing how many great racehorses just. That's why when people ask me, for me, it's like Ernie Munich. It's Seattle Slew. Because of how great he was on the racetrack.
Alidar too.
What he
Alidar too.
Right, and what he did, how he affected the game and the breed in the shed. It was just, I mean,
and
at one
Slew
point
was an all-time great.
Right, at one point they did a study. It was like
was Alidar.
responsible for $600 million in if you went like 3 generations from Seattle Slew, was responsible for $600 million in earnings on the racetrack.
Yeah, no, they were incredible, and I think it's one of the reasons I get frustrated sometimes when horses, and I'm like. Flightline's a
wonderful horse,
incredible talent. I mean, and I'd love to see him more, but I'm not going to anoint horses great all-time greats off of a handful of races, because those guys had, spectacular.
24 for 24. I mean,
26 for 30 in his lifetime. I remember when he won the World's Playground. That was the race that sort of announced him. He won it by like 17 and a half lengths down at Atlantic City. There were no Beyer figs, but you did some figs. You looked at times, and you knew this was special. So he comes and he runs in the Champagne, and General Assembly had been the horse. Now, he had lost to Tim the Tiger in the Cowden. He had won the Hopeful. And it was always Jolly. Back then, it was Jolly.
Jolly was the one.
The guy. He always had the horse. And so a little bit of the bloom was off the rose, but they were all meeting again in the Champagne. I don't know why I didn't go. I was in New York with my grandmother that day. I didn't come out. I still regret it. I saw Spectacular Bid, and I said, this horse, he might be something special. I wonder what he's going to do. Not only did he destroy the field, but he also paid like $6. And back then, shippers didn't get bet. They didn't have figs. There wasn't this prevalence. They didn't get bet. You'd see Christopher R. would come up here. It was a Maryland killer and paid $13 in the winter. And Dave's Friend and those horses. Sure. And it was like everybody knew clearly that he was the second coming. Anyhow, so Dakota Gold. He is obviously, and we'll look at him in that Monmouth win, the now, before he finished 5th as the ridiculous favorite in the Breeders' Cup because Modern Games was running for purse money only. He has, in both of his races on the turf, taken advantage of monstrously fast paces that fell apart. But he's also running Beyer figures in the mid-80s as a 3-year-old, as a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I do respect the 8, and I won't be shocked if Surprise Boss wins, but I have a feeling this horse might just be too much racehorse.
I have been preaching too much lately about the recency. So I went to Surprise Boss, but for everything you said, yeah.
And the other problem is, and we'll show Surprise Boss last race, and listen, the fact that he showed he could rate, he's legit. It's going to be 7 today, so it's a different race.
And he doesn't get his Lasix.
No Lasix. There's other speed in this race, and he's coming back in 15 days.
Yeah. So you almost have to for this kind of money in these restricted
races.
races.
Of course. If he was our horse, we'd be running him back too. If he could get out of the stall, of course. But he's coming back in 15 days.
He is.
And
he did show the ability to rate last time, which I think is important in here because there is other speed in here.
But he beat Swashbuckle.
He beat Swashbuckle.
And I know those figs come up high.
I bet Swashbuckle.
And I wouldn't leave this horse out. And that was a tough beat, actually.
Yeah.
It was a good price. Anybody else wins this race, it's an upset. I know Marinara Sauce won, and I know that we're both hoping that Louis Lazzanero has a winner with this horse, but let's be honest. This horse got a monster pace to close into last time.
He still made up all that ground, but he did have a lot of help up front.
Yeah, so did whatever his name is, Dream Point, the Gary Siaka horse. Has he finished the race he was in here the other day?
I mean, you do understand that Meseta has to win today now, right?
No, he's not
Both
winning.
of us off?
No, he's not winning. He's just not very good. He might run third, but he's not winning this race. He might somehow run second, but he's not winning this race. Race number 5 is a cluster, to say the least.
There's no question
because
about it.
The problem with race number 5, starts the pick 6, by the way, is that Kemba.
Race 4 starts a triple play, by the way, today. It's 4, 7, and 9.
4, 7, 9. We're finally smartening up and just making it a slightly different bet.
Yeah.
It's 3 turf races. Kemba can't win without the lead.
Can't win without the lead.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't want to have the lead on the inner turf course. It's a very, very strange week on the inner. And I think one of the reasons that we have seen a plethora of sort of wild results in the mile and a 16th races on the inner turf this week is there's something wrong with the rail. Horses are not running that are inside. And no matter how slow the paces are, horses are dominating coming from behind.
Off the pace.
And we can list it firm from now until kingdom come, and we're not kicking it up, and it's not saying it's soft or good. That turf's not playing like a firm turf course. They're running 143 to 146. They're closing into slow paces. There's something goofy about that course this weekend. It's almost like it never dried after the rain we got. I don't know what it is, but there's something wrong with that course.
But the funny part of
something
that,
wrong with it. There's something goofy about it.
The funny part of that is all of the conditions needed to dry that course out have been here.
No, I know.
It was 1,000 degrees on Friday.
I can't explain it.
Right? Yesterday, the wind. I mean,
beautiful sunny days.
Michelle Yu,
well, the Widener's fine.
Michelle Yu, who did a fantastic job the last 2 days pinch hitting with us, I think she was genuinely afraid up here last night at about 6:15 because the whole set was shaking. It was windy up here.
No,
you know? So
close the windows of my apartment.
You had every element to dry this course out, and you're 100% right. It's not. It's just. I don't doubt that it's firm. It's just not playing like a firm course.
It's been there. So you don't want to handicap races by announcing that I'm expecting something goofy to happen. But I'm not taking Kemba in this race where he's not supposed to get the lead. And if she does, I'm not sure I want her in the front end anyway. And Princess Pinky, who was 4.5 hours the horse to beat, we'll take a look at her last race. And she's run nothing but winning races in her turf races with trips. The problem with her is she's Michelle Nevin off a long layoff in the turf. 180 days to 360 days in the turf. Michelle was 3 for 37, 67, 66 in ROI, and she's 1 for 19 in routes. So one of the better trainers in the grounds, like a Tom Morley, her horses need races. And listen, this horse is a weak the horse to beat in here. This horse, if it wasn't a layoff situation, I would think this horse was a mortal lock in this field. But I'm not picking this horse off that layoff at a short price on this goofy course.
Okay.
So I've got the 6 and 9 second and third instead of first and second.
And you went to find a stranger.
Well,
fair enough.
Well, you don't have the 9 in the top 4. That's like ridiculous.
But I think there are other horses. I think she's
well. You've got to use no limp price. You like Federalist Papers against good horses. So that was like a stake race.
Yes, Andy. I had to use Noble Enterprise.
Yeah. No, I already knew this. I joked about. A friend of mine joked about me. He said, "Anthony's going to be all over Noble Enterprise tomorrow after you like Federalist Papers." I saw you had him second. I laughed. I actually preferred Cherie's horse that didn't get out the A's out of that race. I'm taking Rosemary Potatoes. Get Marcellus in the win.
Do you like Rosemary Potatoes? The dish?
You know, I could. I'm ambivalent. I don't love
that's
potato.
The right word
I'm not
for
a huge potato guy. I mean,
Okay.
I'll eat the fries in the right situation.
You've eaten plenty of. We've eaten plenty of French fries.
I need them well done.
All right.
Though.
Yeah, of course. That's what Mom says.
Yeah. So as far as Rosemary Potatoes, that race was dominating the front end. This horse didn't get the best of trips. I'm going to just throw this horse in as a horse that can close into the race. I know one thing: Eric won't be in the front. I don't love this horse, but I think this horse ran enough on the turf in the one race, clearly way better than any race never ran, and I'm going to give her a shot because I didn't like anybody.
She's a turf horse. You just got to hope that she can. I mean, she's got to improve a little
Whatever
bit.
kind of horse she is, she's a
10-1.
turf horse. Yeah. I'm just taking a bit of a shot. I hunted around for somebody else. That's the first 5. The late pick 5 in a moment. Quick break.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Nairo Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Nairo Bets.
We're back. Anthony and Andy. Happy Father's Day. A lot of people lined up. I was missed the bus.
I was going to say that to you at
much.
the beginning of the show. It was reminiscent of the running of the picnic tables up at Saratoga today. They were hustling this morning when I was walking in. I wasn't hustling. I was.
Running the biggest tables there don't scare me. I like the 1A Sweet Mio scratched here, unfortunately. So what do you have here?
I went to the. I like the other part of the entry.
Okay, well, we'll show the race they come out of, and you'll explain to me why you like this horse.
Yeah. So Charlie Baker first. Charlie's really calmed down in the claim box. Charlie's only claimed 14 horses in the last almost 18 months.
That's a lot of horses in 18 months. But
Sorry?
It's a lot of horses in 18 months.
You think for Charlie Baker that's a lot of horses?
100%.
Between here and Finger Lakes.
He's almost never at Finger Lakes.
He's got horses at Finger Lakes.
He's not claiming horses at Finger Lakes. I will tell you this. That's 14 in 18 months, okay?
That's less than one a month.
It's about approximately 50 horses in the last 5 years. I'll bet you his number is very similar to that. If I'll go look up the last 5 years up in the formulator. So maybe somebody
I'd be very
can
curious
watch
to
it
see
and text
that.
me. I don't think. I think 14's a lot. I think you're claiming a horse a month. You got to realize something. You go in for 3, you probably get 1.
No, around here, you're going for 6, you probably get 1.
So how many horses is Charlie going to be dropping on?
Charlie makes, see, here's why.
I'm not buying
you
it.
almost got to, here's the thing just now. Charlie makes sharp claims, and sharp claims are claims that other people aren't in for.
Well, I'm going to say
That's
something,
very
but I'll say
important in the
something
claiming
else.
game.
I want to know how many of those 14 were in New York. I want to know what percentage of the claims were in New York versus what they were before. Now, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe he was claiming at Finger Lakes. I'm skeptical.
We
that
know
he's
one of them is
claiming
glass
much up
ceiling.
there. Right. No, I know. He's had great success, glass ceiling and joking. And, you have a lot of bad claims to get to horses like that. But you
He gets a
don't
lot
need
of
to have
these-
too many good claims. if
Part
they're
of the
the
reason I
ones.
like this filly today was when he reaches in, he does well with these fillies who, at some point, this filly had some decent enough
Well, that's
form
true of anybody that
where
wins
it looked,
claimers.
yeah, but he does a better job than most at it.
This horse has been in the barns of too many sharp guys.
I
for
don't
me
disagree with that.
to
and
take this
ladies,
horse off the
I don't
claim.
disagree with that.
Sharp
I don't
people.
disagree with that. But
Yeah,
I still
not for me.
think, I think this filly's going to run well
The
tonight.
horse that ran the best in that race was not Prairie Fire. And it wasn't Greatest Love.
It was Mosenko.
It was She's a Black. There's running back in this race.
Oh, okay.
She's a black belt because she's the one that was moving up front and she's the one that got forced into this situation by Mosienko. So she's the one that I want out of that race. To me, she's the clear one you want out of the race. Now listen, not to say that Charlie won't improve Greatest Love and she can't win. I don't particularly like her, but I hear you. I don't like Prairie Fire out of it. I got the other 2 players from other races. I'll take her from that race. The 7, Awesome Indra. I'm not sure what to expect from her. Last race was bad. Been claimed by Robbie Falcone, who's got a decent percentage off the claim. He's 24% over the last 5 years in the dirt. The ROI is $1.69, so he's around the takeout. It's not a bad result for him.
Her being
and
on
it's
for 2
good
months
percentage,
does
maybe she needs some
bothers
time.
me a little bit.
You see, I don't know why that bothers you. I feel like a horse ran badly. That's not surprising the horse needed some time.
Okay.
I mean, Robbie probably gave her time because I would
think
assume.
she
I mean, I
ran,
don't-
you think the word would be badly?
Well, she didn't run horribly last time. I mean, she just didn't run well. She was 3 to 5, and it was but she didn't run a 46 buyer and get beaten by 30 lengths. And maybe she had a minor issue
I was
coming
saying,
out
I
of it.
don't
and
think-
Robbie
I
needs
don't
some
think she
time. I don't
ran
think he's
bad.
running her back. It's not like he said, "I got to run her back in 2 months." I'm pointing to Father's Day. He brought her back.
She's
She's not dropping off a cliff.
she's notoriously a tough horse to train in the morning.
Made
She
a lot
has
of
her
things.
she has her quirks.
But she could win this race.
She can,
and
I put her second. She absolutely can
and
win
so
this
and
race.
so can Bustin' Bay.
Yeah, so could Bustin' Bay.
Bustin' Bay did kind of suck up, and she's a black belt. Don't forget, she was in the Shadalamo pace as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she's sort of logical. But it's a barn. Obviously, doesn't win a high percentage, but she'll be a better price. So I took her.
Yeah.
No great shakes. Race number 7. Believe me, it's not exactly a race that I have a strong opinion. I actually preferred the other Charlie. Race number 7 is an absolutely impossible race, and to make it even harder, it's being run in the inner. So this is another crapshoot. Just throw them up in the air. We'll look at Roos. We'll look at Bar 14 and Danzig with the Stars, who I have on top. Danzig with the Stars. This was not Jose's greatest moment. He got himself into a spot, and he just couldn't really get anywhere in that spot. I'm not saying this horse is going to win. He was in a good spot before that. He put him in a good position. He wasn't going through there. I have no problem with Roos, except to say that the pace looks pretty quick in this race. Between Certified Flash and Bar 14, this horse is not getting the lead, and while he can run effectively rating, he's never won rating, and he's got a win rating at 1 1/8 on a turf course that's been favoring horses making runs from farther back. So, yeah, I think he can win, but I don't know, man, and I thought he'd be short in here.
Yeah, well, look, we know that Great Nuts Warrior is going to be the favorite because it's Chad, and that's it, right? How about that horse winning the?
No.
You don't think Great Nuts Warrior is going to be the favorite?
I don't know who the heck's going to be the favorite here. I know that Craig made him a shorter price because I said to him, you make those Chad Brown horses half the price that you think they're going to be because of some of the lines he made, but.
You don't think along the lines of everything you said also where the flow, the outer flow's been winning these races?
Anthony.
Kind of
That's not how the betting's getting affected. So, no, I don't believe that at all. No, I don't believe that. And
Okay.
I can't believe you think I think that. But anyway, this horse is slow. He's slow.
He is,
so,
but he's been gone a while, and now he's
the
four.
line is made based on speed figures. Remember that at heart. It's always going to be made by people who bet speed figures. And I don't think that speed figures are going to make a horse the favorite. Is he possibly the favorite? Absolutely. Chad Brown's horse can always be the favorite. But I don't think it's any kind of
No,
you want to tell me you're absolutely sure he's going to be favored in this race?
If you're based on that,
this is the most impossible race I've ever seen.
If you're based on that, then Rouge should be the favorite.
He might be favored. He probably might be favored. I'm not sure he shouldn't be favored here. I'm not sure he's not sort of the most logical horse in the race.
Rouge. Yeah, he probably is the most logical horse in the race.
I don't know how this race is going to be bet. No, I have no idea how to. The reason I picked Dancing with the Stars in here is that he has races fast enough to win. He's going to rate. He's picking up Luis Saez, and he's going to be a decent enough price. And Uncle Curly, I don't see how he's winning. That race fell apart last time, okay? Certified Flash, last time was the time. There's other speeds in here. He's got to get faster, going longer. Bar 14, he's actually been in good form, but he's going longer, other speeds, the way the rack is playing. Jade's Dream, I can't really have. Quiet Out East, I can't really have it 1 1/8. Clearly, Roos can win. And I do think the outside two can win. We'll show the race where Tulane actually beats Grape Nut Warriors here. Now, this was not the finest ride that a horse has gotten. Grape Nuts Warrior should have just been home and won for fun in here. So if you like Tulane, you're kind of supposed to like Grape Nuts Warrior. The only benefit to Tulane is he already has a race off the layoff. Having said that, Chad Brown has great numbers off layoff, so I don't know you'd be worried about it. Still, the problem is this was a non-winners of 1. These are non-winners of 1 winners running against non-winners of 2 horses in here, and habitually those horses.
And it opens up to the optional, so even if you don't like Uncle Curly, he's a 5-time winner. Bar 14's won 3 times. Quiet Out East has won 4 times, so there are some more seasoned vets in here. That's another big difference, I think, between the A other end and the 2 other end when it opens up to the optional.
Great Nuts Warrior won by a nose in his next start. It's not like, Great Nuts Warrior kind of been a bit of a money burner. And oddly enough, last time was the only time he was favored. A lot of that was because of the trip in the race that we just watched. So, and he's run against inferior fields to this, and he's not getting favored.
And Rouge handled him.
But I will tell you one thing.
Rouge handled him pretty easily.
I actually have met the true Grape Nuts Warrior.
Really?
Yeah. Tom Coleman's dad. Tom Coleman named this horse for his dad.
He just eats grape nuts.
It goes back. It's a Joe Applebass. Okay. It's when they were kids, for being he's a healthy eater. Okay. It goes back to that. It's a longer story. I don't know the exact.
So I'd be the pizza warrior, I guess.
You're definitely not the Great Nuts Warrior.
No, not. I never had grape
nuts. You know
nuts
that
in my
Michael
life.
Doheny, who's part owner in this horse, he's the one who suggested that they run he was part owner in Monterey Girl. They run in the dirt after she ran the turf.
Really?
It's also correct.
Wow.
Do you remember Testa Rossi?
Of course.
Tom had that horse. She was good.
She was really good.
She'd win the Miss Grillo or run second in her first start in this country. What was that, back in 2013?
Did she came over as a 2-year-old?
Oh, she ran in the Miss program because I was here. In fact, that may have been when I met Tom.
Huh.
Well, she definitely ran there. She ran the Miss Grillo here in the fall. I bet on it.
Interesting.
It's an interesting race. I don't know who's going to be favored. You may be right. She might be favored, and it's Chad Brown, and I get it. But
that horse that won the last race yesterday was 3-1.
My mistake with that horse was just not realizing that horse's last race was atrocious. The Chad Brown horse is a 1 3/8. I probably should have the horse higher. I mean, I had the horse back on. I would hit the pick 5 for $1 if that Credit Veno had no excuse to lose had won. But just because I used her as a C, I would have hit it as a C. Why you make backup tickets? Race number 8. Not a big fan of race number 8. Money in the Bank's the worst to beat. I totally get it.
You're such a big fan. You don't even have picks.
7-1-3-6, guys. Wow. Listen,
I mean, Andy, I know you
I'd
don't
like
like the
to have
race,
no
but
picks in this
really-
race. I'm good at I'm good
really,
with
a
this.
little
Ed.
help here.
Let's go faster. We're wasting too much time babbling about meaningless crap. Money in the Bank. I'm 7-1-3-6 in here. Can we show Money in the Bank's last race? Obviously, last time was the time for him. He ran a figure that'll win this race. Do you trust him to run it again? I don't know. You know what else worries me? With a rider who gets himself in trouble losing position in races, having the rail in a race where there's significant speeds outside of you, I could envision this horse getting shuffled into a bad spot, couldn't you?
I mean, it kind of could have happened last time, too, but it didn't.
But it didn't. No, I think Eric's a good rider who doesn't ride as well as he should a lot of the time. I think Eric's a very talented rider.
This has
I
a
don't think
chance.
he rides as well as
This
he should
has a
sometimes.
chance. I put this horse second. This has a chance of being deja vu all over again, where you could just kind of.
Oh, he's the worst to beat. I mean, we
Yeah.
both pick him second, but he's the worst to beat. I'm not against him.
I wanted a little fuzzy in here, 5-1 morning line. Yeah, I thought absentee, fresh geld. I like when they geld them second off the layoff. I like when they have the race under their belt.
Are you 100% sure that this horse was gelded after his last race and not before it? Because I'm not. Because I don't trust horses from out of town with this thing, and I've seen times they were wrong. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just telling you.
We usually do a good job at policing.
No.
At finding out.
Not out of town horses.
Okay.
No. We're relying on information from the forum, the database. I don't buy it. I don't trust out of town tracks. I've seen too many times it was wrong. I would prefer that. I just don't like it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Pennsylvania, Florida. You may be right. I don't know.
Sources run well on the circuit. Sources run well at Belmont.
I know the problem is
he's
the
going to be
recent
a
form is
decent enough
awful.
price.
I've got him somewhere in there. I don't know. I get it. He's the wise guy horse here. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
The Warrior Chief has back races that are kind of interesting, and I'm not sure he doesn't have a little bit of a shot at a price. I got Copper down on top. I don't know. I don't really like him. We'll show his Keeneland race last time out. You know that you know who he beat when he won his Knowers a 1? I'll give you a hint. He's a Grade 1 winner.
This is when Todd had him.
It's a Grade 1 winner. I bet you don't even remember this horse. You remember him. You just won't. You don't even realize who I'm thinking of. Okay, he won the Cigar Mile.
I knew that. I can't. Who?
You know, looking at this last race.
Who was it?
The horse to beat him has run some faster races. I actually thought it was okay. I don't know. I thought the race kind of fell apart a little bit last time. I took him because Wesley seems to win with these horses of the chip here. I'm going to trust him. I don't love him. I don't have a strong opinion in this race. Pattern recognition. This horse beat Pattern. Remember Pattern lost to some killers in his races? This horse lost to Pattern. This horse beat Pattern. This won the Kelso and the Cigar Mile as a 40-year-old. I think he was wearing a
5-year-old,
cane.
no?
I think 6. 5 or 6. Debuted as a 4-year-old.
I think it was the second.
He's the horse that I was on
Broke
the
the
phone
streak.
with Chad Brown. No, I was on the phone with Chad Brown when he ran his debut race. And
Ran in April or
he was-
something.
and yeah, at Aqueduct. I can remember the thing, and I said to him, you know, you're like 1 for 16 with 4-year-olds and up, first-time stars. And he said, I'm about to be 2 for 17.
He was right.
Race number 9, the New York Stallion for Cupico's Joy. Anthony and I could wax poetic about her. Won the Mother Goose. She beat Christmas Past, the Mother Goose.
Christmas
We showed that
Past.
race. Huge field. The Mother Goose, really, probably about as storied history of a race you'll find anywhere. So we'll look at Morning Matcha, running second in the Busanda. She has a little smidgen of turf battery. The dam was over 5, but she did handle it. And she's a central banker. But these horses never win.
They don't win.
They never win.
They never win.
They're always bet in their dirt form, and they never win these races.
Never.
So I would use her defensively, but I can't pick her.
And again, it's the kind of thing where they're putting up 150,000. It's like 85 to the winner. You're not going to pass these
You have
races
to run
up.
these races.
You
Well, the
have to
other thing
run.
is, you try here because we run the turf at Saratoga. And if you can run well here, then you run in Saratoga on the turf. If you can't, then you take a dirt approach.
The
You want
spectacular-
to stay in these races.
And listen, these races have produced some good horses. Rinaldi won the spectacular bid division.
A lot of terrific
3
horses
years
in
ago.
here.
Yeah.
Silk and Dollar you picked. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I wanted to pick a little bit of a price in here. I didn't love the favorites. I thought she ran well enough going to 7. That was important to me that she
the
won
pace a
going to
problem
7.
here, though?
Yeah, I mean, she's probably not fast enough to be in front. They're going to have to ask her to sit off the pace today. But I don't know. I thought she'd be 10 to 1. And I want to use a handful of horses in here. I think she'll be the biggest prices of the horses I like, so I put her on top.
Okay. That's fine. I get that. Robin and Eli. I know she's a maiden for Chad Brown. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's a very logical horse.
Very
We'll look at her
logical.
running second last time at Aqueduct in December. We love a good turf race at Aqueduct in December. She's going to finish second to Autumn Glory. Autumn Glory came back, and I think ran a 670. Do we have a problem with the video, guys? Okay, thanks. Autumn Glory came back and ran a 75 buyer on her next start. I don't see any reason this horse can't improve. Makes her the horse to beat. She's going to get pace to run at.
Yep.
Chad Brown coming off a layoff. I think she's perfectly logical in this race. I don't know what price she'll be, but I oddly feel like she may, believe it or not, as a maiden, I'm not sure she's not the horse to beat in here.
I don't
and
know
for
if
that
it is.
barn, I don't know who the horse to beat is near, but
Right. Well, I would imagine, how do you make your money?
I don't think she's going to be favored. You think
Really?
I picked her, and I picked her, and I don't know.
Stakes-faced open company, the one race against Statefords on the turf, she won.
I don't know.
I think she'll
She won a maiden race with a 62 buyer.
Yeah, but she
no,
was a 2-year-old.
I don't think she'll be favored.
Okay.
If I thought, I don't think Robin Lee Life can be 8-1 and she can be 7-2. If I'm wrong about it, I'd switch it around. You know, this is one where we make picks now. It's not. Those are the odds. I'm betting on the 11. I can guarantee you that.
Of course.
Not even close.
Yeah.
You
Right,
have to.
if the
You
9
have to
and
put
the
a
11
bet.
are the same price, I'm betting the 11 as well.
Mike Trombetta has good numbers. You know, here's one for you: synthetic to turf, 19 for 55. 19 for 85, 22%, 371 ROI. He does have a big price in there. He's 12 for 42 in sprints. Now, the big price is in there, but you take the big price out, and he's still $4.70.
That's giant.
So he's you know, he's 619.
That's a
without.
middling price consistency. That's
got,
nice.
He's got numbers. And the thing is, especially against Spenderella, I know, going long, I thought cutting back. And the thing is that Mike ships a lot of live horses here. Mm-hmm. I'm also a Mike Trombetta fan.
Yes, you are.
And he's got a good sense of humor because I used to tease him. He was on that horrible run at Aqueduct when he lost like 30 straight races, and I used to bring it up. When I think he won the double. I think he won both halves double, and he texted me and said, "Crush that double," or something like that. You gotta love
more
that.
of that
You gotta
around
love
here.
that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I like being made fun of. You know, it's fine. I'm easy to make fun of. As you know, it's easy to make fun of both.
I remember
of us.
getting a little tip
Ooh.
on Shigeko. First time out. And didn't do a ton of running.
She was awful.
Yep, didn't do a ton of running. I like betting the tips back. Again, wide open.
She'll
I'm
be
going to
100
use
to
5
1.
or 6
Throw her in.
horses
She won't
in
be
here.
8-1. She'll be 100
Yeah.
to 1. So
I'm going to use her.
you want to use her. She won't be 8-1. She won't be the same price as Chad's horse.
No,
I'll
she
tell you
won't.
that.
Right.
There's a flaw. That's the flaw in the line, right there. Now
Right.
maybe she's going to be 20-1 and Chad will be 7-1 or something, which I don't
Right.
doubt. But she'll be more like 15-1 and 5-1. Race number 10. It's a doozy. Race number 10. I
This
thought
is a doozy.
I thought I'd show Joshua's race. I mean, the fact is that Joshua will show the start of his race because he does break a half slow.
He's the horse to beat off that race, right?
Well, it's a terrible field he comes out of. But he's the horse that comes out of the best performance in his race. The question is, do you think that race makes him good enough to win? I mean, he breaks a little slowly, he ends up getting shuffled back. Race was dominated a bit forward in here. And it's just sort of an unlucky situation for Manny. It wasn't his fault. Everybody was drifting so much as would come in the stretch that he had no choice but to go inside of them. And I don't think it gets your horse sort of comfortable trying to close inside them because they're all drifting so much in the front end. And Manny was basically keeping a straightish path. And he couldn't angle out 5 paths to go around him. What's he
Right.
supposed to do?
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it's unfortunate.
I just don't know about that race, you know? Mm-hmm. I just don't know about it. But you've taken, I think,
I
Brennan's.
went to Brennan's War. Try and
Did Leah Giamatti complain you don't pick her horses? Is that what you did? Is that
I
what
just hope
happened?
this horse gets to the. Listen, if Relate takes to the turf,
Relate's
she'll have
going to be in front.
he'll have some company on the front end. If Relate doesn't take to the turf, this horse is gone.
No, he's not. Not if Slugo takes the turf, but okay. He is the only one that showed speed on the turf. It's not as though he has a history of showing speed. It's not as though he ran a fast pace last time. You're acting like this horse is fast.
No, I mean
he's not fast.
But there's not a. I mean,
I understand, but
if
there's two
Relate
dirt horses
turfs,
that can
yes.
speed. Well, Relate has turf pedigree. And the reality is that it's Mike Maker, bought this horse for Jordan Wyckoff, and the first thing to do was go to the turf. I mean, Jordan's not as smart as his dad, but he's not that dumb.
I wouldn't want to run him on the dirt.
Do you think? Let me ask you a question. Maybe you should replace Louis with Jordan.
No, we'll talk about that when you get back.
Maybe.
From vacation.
Well, Kirk actually texted me last night. He wants to know what we're doing with it. We don't have enough time. I've got him second. Relate. I wanted new faces, and I'm just a little surprised. You picked Moon Hunter last time, and the horse got scratched, and now you're not picking the horse in your top 4, but you like the horse in a tougher field last time. Just bringing it up. This horse has a gigantic pedigree. Multiple turf winner on the dam side. 3 out of 4 horses from the dam have won on the turf. And this horse was atrocious first time out at Tampa. Couldn't have been worse. But this horse is a little bit interesting. For a trainer, it's been a little bit interesting. And you liked this horse last time. It got scratched, and you don't have the horse in your top 4. We're just bringing it up. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Head over to Naira Bets. Get Dad on Naira Bets. Get everybody, Mom, the kid, the whole family tree, right?
I agree.
Head over, match 200. Use this promo code keeps to be employed 200. Sign up for Naira Bets. Get a $200. We'll match to $200 of your initial deposit, and you'll enjoy all the many fruits that Naira Bets has to offer. We also have the $5 a week. It's going to be this week and next week. You bet $20 each day,
correct.
anywhere through Naira Bets. Opt in. I'm going to opt in for that right away.
Cody's Wish is in Saratoga, by the way.
See, I told you.
You did. You were right.
Yeah. Maybe I'll go see him. I'm going to go over there.
Go ahead.
Bring my partner in crime, Naja.
Go say hello.
Naja gets there earlier than me anyway. Oh, definitely. That's all week, $20 a day, 20 or more a day, and you'll get that. And that includes that Wednesday with that fun card. I looked over that Canterbury card. That's a fun card. They got big fields every race. That is a fun card. We'll be covering that.
Canterbury and Penn National.
Ooh, Penn National, the former home of Dan Silver. Head on over to. He's had so many homes. What else we got? Keep it rolling. Because we're late. $5,000 trifecta bonus. Anthony, you think it's the last 2 races? You thought?
I believe so.
Okay. Sit and split on that. Head over to Naira Bets, get more information. And finally, last but not least, 1 to 12:30 to 3, 3 to 5, and 5 to 6. You'll be just moving around that remote. We're done. Have a great day. Andrew came up right away. Johnny I up next to reprise scratches and changes.